Hello? Oh, really? Again? Huh. No, I get it. Tough times. So, when do you think you're gonna do it? You don't know? What do you mean you don't know? The thing has been long overdue. It's been months now. What? Well, you know what? Fuck you. I don't need you anymore. Okay? Okay, I'll do it with another person, okay? Goodbye. Okay, I get it. But I don't understand why you wouldn't do it. Well, because of some writer's block. And, screw no writer's block. Huh? Okay, goodbye. What got your titties in a twist? This stupid collaborator that I've been meaning to make a video with for months has decided to say, oh, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to do it. Well, this video's been long overdue. How are you gonna... Man, it's been rough. I need a new collaborator now. Give me a sign, bro. A sign? I'm not the resurrection of God. My phone's ringing again. Huh? Hey, what's up? Huh? Wait, what? You coming over? When? Right now? Okay. I'll see you then. Goodbye. Oh my god, Chase, you're not gonna believe what just happened. A special human who I will not disclose just yet have just confirmed that they're on their way over here to make a video with me. This is incredible. Thank you, Chase. You gave me a song. You are a god. Of course I'm a god, Izu. What else did you expect? I'm Chase, the one and only. He's here.
Woo! I'm here now. Wait, is this whole living room green?
Yep, it's beneficial for my recording. But don't worry, it can turn back to normal.
Okay, who's this South Park looking guy?
You too! Oh, I can't stand you people always labeling us! How dare you! Hey, let's all calm down. Anyways, Chase, meet MPK. My boyfriend. You have a boyfriend?! Izu has a boyfriend? Why is everyone so shocked? Angle, I thought y'all would've died virgins. What? Excuse me?
So, what video do you want to make?
Well, I do have one script that I was gonna make it to a video, but the collaborator never finished her work, so I gave her the boot.
Can I fill in?
I don't see why not. Albeit, I don't think another console stars video would be too original. How about failed consoles? I don't see many people doing that, so we could actually have some gold here.
Sure.
Hey, let's not waste any more time now. I mean, this intro's already 3 minutes long.
Alrighty. Wait, have you been recording this entire time?
Failed consoles are never something a company wants, if they ever dare make a console. It's almost impossible to get into the console industry in 2023. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. These three messiahs are literally the holy trinity, what God intended. Why is it only three? Well, let me explain in the most simplest terms I can, divided into 3 sections. Number 1, lack of support. Companies sometimes either don't have the budget or the energy to promote a console as much as necessary, or even support it with updates, hardware upgrades, or even games. Thus, it doesn't give customers a reason to purchase their product. 2. Lack of originality. Consoles can end up being too similar to each other to the point where one may not even have a clear identity. Take a micro console, for example. Each console can do the same damn thing, play mobile games. What makes each of them any different? And lastly, number 3. General lack of interest. This may seem pretty blunt, but gaming customers are pretty stiff and hard to get into, and some consoles may not even interest them at all, no matter how hard to try. I mean, why else would the stupid console war still exist? One brand interests one over the other. All of these reasons can add up to a console with a recipe for disaster, and in this video, we're gonna be looking at 10 of the worst selling consoles ever, and why they all failed. POV. It's the 2000s and the handheld craze has just begun, with Nintendo leading the way.
The wait is over. This is Nintendo DS.
However, with every hero, there's always a villain. The PSP has also come out, daring to challenge the throne Nintendo has set. But what's this? Another company has decided to release a console of their own? That's right, people. Brace yourselves for Gizmondo.
What the hell is a Gizmondo?
That's for us to find out. In 2005, Tiger Telematics, not to be confused with Tiger Electronics, who coincidentally made dog shit of their own as well, released a handheld aimed to be a rival against the DS and the PSP. It was highly anticipated, with the company even going as far as spending millions on the promotion and having a celebrity party. But it all came crashing down almost immediately. Customers discovered that only 8 games were ever released, with the UK only receiving 1 at launch. On top of that, there was a cheaper alternative of the handheld that forced people to watch so-called smart ads in order to play any games at all.
Wait a minute, I just found out after some googling that the director of Gizmondo was part of the Mafia and was sent to prison after he crashing his car in traffic. Not only that, but several other executives were also involved in criminal activity. Was this all some con artistry?
I have no idea, but whatever sorry attempt they made with Gizmondo, it all failed, and the console doesn't continue in less than a year, and it went down in history as the worst-selling handheld console in gaming history. Moral of the story? Never name your brand after cats!
One of the arguments over the future of home computing is, will we add computing power to our television sets, or will we add TV capability to our personal computers? Apple is betting that the TV will be the preferred viewing device with a new approach to home computing called Pippin.
What the actual fuck is a Pippin? That sounds like the name of a sorry-ass clown.
And now, children, get ready for the one, the only Pippin the Clown! Ahoy, kids! Today I'm going to show you a very cool magic trick!
Anyways, Pippin was made by the all-time juggernaut, our Lord and Savior, Apple.
Apple?
Apple, the largest company in the world. Oh wait, it's not pronounced Pippin, it's Pippin! The console was made during the dark ages of Apple, when Steve Jobs wasn't involved with the company. The console was based on the Mac OS architecture. It was made to be both a gaming console and a computer that could surf the web. It was basically the blueprint for consoles nowadays, as now every console has an OS and can surf the web. But oh my god did the Pippin suck at everything. You see, because it had so much in it, the price skyrocketed to $600, and that's in 90s money. On top of that, there were very few games released for the console, and customers already had other reputable brands to go to, like Nintendo, PlayStation, hell, even Sega. It was quickly discontinued after Steve Jobs returned to the company. But now let's go to a console made by a reputable brand that failed so terribly. MBK, do you want to do this one?
Sure, why not? Let's see what it... Oh.
Yep.
We'll make this quick. Family time's dropping fast, people. Boo! Time to upgrade to Wii U.
The Wii U was released in 2012 during the years in what is considered to be Nintendo's flop era. During 2010 to 2015, Nintendo was borderline dealing with writer's block. After the release of the Wii, their most profitable console ever, and the DS, Nintendo was wondering what was next for their gaming lineup. In an interview in 2010, Satoru Iwata announced that they would reveal a new console once they ran out of ideas with the current hardware. That seemed to be the case because less than a year later, the Wii U was announced. To mediocre reception. The main problem was the tablet. It immediately came off as a gimmick, which ultimately was the case. At launch day, a ton of games were available, a ton that were released on other platforms, maybe even ran better on them. On top of that, the Wii U was too expensive, being priced at over $350 for the deluxe box set, which was unheard of for Nintendo. The biggest problem, though, was the promotions. Very few commercials were made for the console, and the ones that were made were terrible. They failed at giving the Wii U a clear identity, which was a major issue. The average consumer would assume the Wii U was an add-on or pro model of the Wii, so why would they buy that if they already had a Wii? And I'm pretty sure by 2012 the Wii craze had kind of died down and the casual audience wasn't no longer interested in it. Sales for the console were terrible and Nintendo lost millions as a result. And the console will be quickly discontinued in 2017 for one little small successor called the Switch. I guess you could say that's the bright side. The Wii U would become some sort of blueprint for the Switch, which could be looked at as a way better and more refined Wii U. So, moral of the story? The Wii U walks so the Switch can run.
What a story. The Wii U was like the GameCube. It did terribly, but in recent years, people have been looking back fondly. It's almost the exact same case for our next console.
Man, stay off the light speed.
My bad.
Sonic Adventure on Sega Dreamcast. It's thinking.
Perhaps the most famous failed console is also perhaps the most tragic. The Sega Dreamcast. The Sega Saturn proved to be disastrous due to its pricing, lackluster games, no Sonic, and don't get me started on its ludicrously atrocious promotion.
You are approaching Saturn. You are only seconds away. Watch and listen.
Introducing Sega Saturn. Aww. Hit it. Sega's next generation gaming platform.
Come, look into the world of Sega Saturn.
What was that?
The commercial for Sega Saturn.
And I thought I've seen everything the gaming industry had to offer.
You have only barely seen half of it. Anyhow, the Dreamcast was Sega's last effort in the console industry, and with this, they made sure to improve from the Saturn. They actually pulled their shit together and made a decent console, with some of the greatest Sonic games ever made, top-notch third-party games, and innovative features on the controller with the first analog triggers and VMU. But where did it all go wrong? Well, it's all because of one company. When the PlayStation 2 was announced, interest in the Dreamcast fell down tremendously almost immediately. On top of that, the promotion was still mediocre at best, and customers at this point knew better, especially after the Saturn. Despite Sega's best efforts, this console sold even less than the Saturn, as Sega withdrew from the console business in 2001.
What a surprisingly upsetting story.
It is. Moral of the story, the console industry is cold-blooded and unpredictable. It's a cruel, cruel world. Let's switch gears to a company that screwed up far too much, though. MBK, would you like to do the honors?
Sure.
Some of you believe your system is the most advanced in the universe. Let's review the numbers. Sega Genesis is 16 bits, 3DO is 32 bits, the Atari Jaguar is 64 bits. Which is more advanced? Clifford!
So already we have a problem, but before we continue, we must trace back a few steps. Before Xbox, PlayStation, hell, even Nintendo, the king of the gaming industry was Atari, the juggernaut of the 70s. After their smash hit with the Atari 2600, Atari would make the grand sequel in 1982, the 5200, aimed to be a bigger and better console. Well, they got it right when they said bigger. Look at this thing! As for the better, no, it wasn't. If anything, it was worse. Customers felt little to nothing was changed beside a wider range of colors. Look at this comparison. Try to see some difference besides brighter and whiter colors. Another issue is this abomination of a controller. Considered to be one of the worst controllers ever made, it looks hideous. It was extremely uncomfortable and it was crazy prone to issues and malfunctions. The console was also not compatible with the 2600's games, which hurt sales even more. By the end of the year, the console had sold 1 million units, which was a travesty compared to the 2600's amazing 30 million. After that failure, Atari decided to get it together and improve with their next console. Was it better? Well, yes and no. The Atari 7800. Released in 1984, it's another Atari console. That's all that can be said about it. Sure, the graphics were legitimately improved by a lot, but it also used the same damn audio chip that was used all the way back with the 2600s. And the controller still used a similar design from the 5200s. Have they not learned their lesson? I'll give it this though, they did add backwards compatibility with the 2600s games, but it's not compatible with the 5200s? If you're gonna add backwards compatibility, use it for all consoles instead of one, especially one that's newer than the other. Sales for the console were exactly like the 5200s, only 1 million were sold. Part of that reason was because, at this point in time, Nintendo revolutionized the entire gaming industry with the NES. After that second fuss, Atari decided to once again get it together and release the Atari XEGS, which sold terribly. It's so obscure that Ray couldn't find that much information about it, other than the fact it sold a laughable 130 units. That's way worse than the Atari 5200 and 7800 combined. One major contribution to this bust was once again Nintendo dominating the market. So then Atari said, one more time, their make or break console, the Atari Jaguar. For their promotions, they decided to get more interesting.
Why would I buy a 32-bit system for $300 when I can get a 64-bit Jaguar system for $149? Knock it off!
A 17-button game controller in your hand.
Yeah.
It gives you 64 bits of raw gaming power at half the cost.
Yeah.
Do the math, Bob. You'll remember that, won't you, Bob?
Yeah, I'll remember.
Then you'll also remember this. Thanks, Bob.
Now we can finally explain the problems with this promotion. First off, never insult your customers. These commercials implied that they were dumb, especially the do the math commercials. Another problem is this monstrosity of a controller. You thought the Atari 5200 controller was bad? Then take a look at this one. A 17-button controller. Did they legitimately think more buttons meant more immersion? No, it doesn't. You'll find yourself constantly looking down at your controller to figure out what the hell you're supposed to press. That's when you know a controller sucks. The third issue is the games. Barely any games came out for the console, and the ones that did failed to utilize the console to its max. The fourth issue was the competitors. By the time Jaguar came out, the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation were already on the way, both being technologically superior in using CDs instead of cartridges. Atari did make a CD add-on, but it costed over $100 and barely any games were made for it. And that leads to the biggest issue, the console itself. Atari claimed that the system was the world's first 64-bit system, but in reality, it was just two 32-bit processors, so it may have added up to 64-bit, but technologically speaking, it really wasn't. Overall, the console became the company's worst-selling console yet, and had sold less than 135,000 units, bankrupting the company. By 1993, Atari sold its properties to Hasbro Interactive and the company closed its doors, marking the end of an era for what was once considered the king of the gaming industry.
If it makes things any better, there is another Atari company that exists, confusingly enough. It's still operative to this day, and now releases their old games through the form of Atari flashbacks. This new Atari may be like the old Atari, but they're not quite the Atari.
I love video games, but more and more people are moving away from the television. There's a lot of focus today on the mobile and web platform, and I've been trying to figure out how do we get them back to it.
What was considered to be the biggest campaign in Kickstarter's history, the Ouya promised many great things that was almost considered to be a rival to Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. A sleek-looking controller, free-to-play games, easy modding. This console sounded like the hardware of dreams. But when it launched, people were pissed. People were met with just Android-type games, online failures, terrible cheap-feeling controllers, and the free-to-play feature that the brand boasted a lot has been removed. People had every right to be pissed. It's $100, sure, but with all the bad things listed, it legitimately felt like a ripoff. By 2015, Razer purchased the Ouya and the console's production ceased in 2019.
I have a surprise for all the slackers, but nothing better to do than play games and surf the net all day. GameCom!
You notice a reoccurring pattern? Majority of these failed console gaming brands tended to insult their fan base. How stupid can these fucking companies be? Anyways, the GameCom is a portable handheld released in 1987 to compete with the Game Boy. Also, yes, it's not called Game.com, it's literally pronounced Gamecom. Anyhow, I do give this console some credit. It's one of the, if not the first, to introduce a touchable screen with a stylus, beating out the DS by almost a decade. But the problem is, that's all it has going for it. The screen has no backlight or color like the Nomad or Lynx. Hell, even the GBC was on its way. Another problem was the weird-ass port of games like Duke Nukem, Sonic Jam, Resident Evil 2, and even the Mortal Kombat trilogy. Because the console was so limited, all of these games looked like horse feces. The console sold 300,000 units and was discontinued in 2000. Moral of the story? Don't try to be bigger than what you already are. Know your place, trash. Although I will give the Gamecom this. It spared no expense in featuring one of the funniest commercials I've ever seen for a game console.
And it plays more games than you idiots have brain cells! Any questions? Then play! Idiot! Next question! How about compatibility? Question! How much does it cost?
Gamecom active.
Hi, I'm looking for...
Stadia?
What?
What Stadia? Stadia is only the newest,
Most logic-defying, mind-bending, absurd gaming platform on Earth!
Ooh. Ah yes, the latest console failure. A console so laughable that I'm pretty sure the memes with this will live on for quite some time.
Didn't this get discontinued very recently?
Yep, which is why I must capitalize on the big news.
You're special. Very, very special.
Aw, thanks for believing in me, love.
I suck at sarcasm.
Anywho, when the Stadia was announced, there was legit hype around the console. A cloud gaming console that can run in 4K 60 FPS with a massive library and third-party support? Sounds great if you ask me. But when it launched, Jesus Christ.
Commercials sucked. Trying to imitate the 80s, 90s style of Sega commercials, the console was extremely buggy, barely even running 1440p, and lack of support, both gaming-wise and literal-wise. Google had a tendency to not respond to any complaints about the Stadia at all. All of this for a stupid subscription price of $10 a month? No thank you. Google realized it was all over for them, and by January 18th, 2023, it was discontinued.
Thank God for that.
Tom likes collector card games, and Jim likes video games. To make a truly great game, I was thinking you could combine them.
This is probably the most bizarre console in this video, made by Mattel Electronics, the company behind the famous Intellivision. The Hyperscan was made as a low-budget, family-friendly console with an idea unheard of. Cards as data and content. I'm not joking, they boast this in the commercials.
The new Hyperscan video game system is here, featuring X-Men. It's where collectible card games meet video games. Scan your character, battle and gain power, rescan to save the power permanently back to your card. Hyperscan video game system with one controller and X-Men game pack. Other games coming soon, sold separately, rated E10 plus to teen. HyperscanGaming.com.
That sounds terrible.
Because it was, love. The console ran so slow it was laughable. Only 5 games were ever released, and the console was laughably expensive for a card console, being priced at $70, not counting all the cards you had to collect. So counting all the cards, all the games, the console itself, you're paying a hefty $720, debit or credit.
What? That's ridiculous.
Yup, no wonder why it was discontinued in a matter of months. But now, it's time for our final failed console discussion. But we must give our honorable mentions to the following. MPK, would you like to do it?
Sure. Sega Saturn, Philips CDI, 3DO Interactive Multiplayer, Sega CD plus 32X, Virtual Boy, R-Zone, Amiga CD32, N-Gage, Laser Active, and lastly, Nintendo 64 Wii.
Thank you for that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our final console failure is...
Oh, I have the announcement letter. It's in my pocket. What? This can't be right.
Read it, now.
The GameCube.
Bet you didn't expect this, huh? Especially considering I'm a GameCube lover boy. But when I put my love for it aside and look at it from a statistical view, it's generally considered a commercial failure. It finished at 3rd place in the console war, and it even sold less than Nintendo's predecessor, the N64, at a disappointing 20 million.
One big factor into its shocking failure was the PS2 being launched alongside a built-in DVD player and its reputable games. Not to mention Xbox entered the ring as well at this point in time.
Please discuss politely if you think otherwise, but in my opinion, this is what you call a commercial failure, as unfair as it is. Though the support was outstanding, with legendary games like Smash Bros. Melee, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine, and Metroid Prime, Pikmin, Animal Crossing, Paper Mario, and The Thousand Year Door, just so many classic games that are generally considered to be one of the greatest first-party games in history. Honestly, this is one of, if not the most tragic side of Nintendo. While it may have failed, what definitely didn't fail was the games. The console gave us gamers so many memories. That's what you call a successful console. It doesn't all have to be about statistics. It's about the memories. If a console gives you so many memories that you forever cherish, then it's done its job. Who are we to say whether these consoles sucked or not? If something like the Gizmondo gave you pleasant memories, then good on you, kiddo.
Wow! Great conclusion, Izu!
Or so bad yourself with your sections.
Now I would stay longer, but I have to go finish up doing, my existence.
Understandable. Until then.
Bye!
What a pleasure it's been for me to deliver you not only this episode, but the entirety of Easy Explains. As we conclude this season finale, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in to this show and loving it so much. It's been a blast for me making this show, and I absolutely cannot wait to produce even more episodes in the future. Although I must say, where's Chase? I would ask him to say his thanks to you guys, but where is he? I don't care. The point is, thank you all so much for watching. Comment, subscribe, and until then, you got to stay tuned. Goodbye. I finally found you, Izu. You're mine.